Hello, everyone. My name is Virginia Prodan, and I'm the host of Courageous Leadership with Virginia Prodan, which airs every Wednesday and Saturday at 10 o'clock Central Time on Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Edify Podcast Network, the best Christian platform. For those of you who might be new to our podcast, we use our podcast to train people to live a life of significance and success. And many times I use my own story and how God built me to be a courageous leader, even under horrified circumstances in socialist Romania and here in America. For some of you, maybe you read my book, Saving My Assassin. You can buy it at my website, virginiaprodanbooks.com. But our podcast is not limited to that. We love to bring to you and to interview courageous leaders who will train us and will teach us from their own experience how they allowed God to build leadership in them and how they build a legacy of courageous leadership in the life of people around them, family, business people, and so forth. Today we have very, very special guests. We have Robert Dunn and Preston Dunn. Their story will blow you away. It's so amazing, so amazing. I met Robert Dunn at Zion Oil and Gas. He is the CEO and the COO of Zion Oil and Gas in Dallas, Texas. I am on the board of directors there, and I had the privilege to meet his family, his sweet wife and his wonderful son, Preston, and I was so impressed with their story. So I invited them to share with us their story and to encourage others to do the same in their lives, in their families, and in their business. So I will start with you, Robert. Please introduce yourself.
Well, thank you, Virginia. My name is Robert Dunn. Currently, I'm the CEO and COO of Zion Oil and Gas. Our operations are Israeli-based. It's a very unique story how I came into Zion's life and how I in 2011, when I first was exposed to Zion, I was living in Turkey with my son and wife. And in 2019, I decided to make the journey back to the United States and come full-time with Zion Oil and Gas.
Well, thank you so very much. And Preston, tell us a little bit about you. Your story is absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I'm currently 17 and attend high school at Montgomery High School, and I am a private pilot.
We'll speak a little bit louder.
Oh, okay. I am 17. I attend Montgomery High School, and I am a private pilot.
Okay. One thing that I really impressed me is this. You, Robert, like you said, you were the CEO of different companies and you travel all over the world with your family. And your son was, as part of your family, travel all over the world with you. Lots of time, kids that travel all over the world and spend lots of time outside of the United States will think and will consider that they don't have what a normal American young person will have. Stability, friends, going to school in the same place, and they will use that as a justification for what they were not able or capable to do it because others in the United States were able to do it. But in your case, Robert and Preston, that's not the situation. It looks to me that you travel all over the world and you open your mind. You learn a lot about the culture and you did the best and you develop in your son the leadership that you develop in yourself in a very unique way. Can you share with us, especially with the parents, how you did that?
It's a very good points that you made there, Virginia. And one of the big things is when we're exposed to different cultures and environments, like we were. Preston, at the age of 4, is when we relocated to Turkey. So predominantly a Muslim country, a lot of different cultural aspects within the country. And I think what's over the time cemented the family values is we were a family unit and we had ourselves. So, you build your faith, you build your family, and we never looked at being a victim of the fact that we couldn't have what was in the United States, what was this. What we did is we used that to cement Preston's outlook growing up. We were able to mentor him that look, there's different cultures, there's different aspects to cultures. And if you look at this, you're going to have a very wide palette. You'll never have just the singular focus on a society. You're going to be able to see the best of the best throughout the world, be it Muslim, Jewish, Christian faiths. We're exposed to them all. And I think that was really foundational in Preston's ability to have a very positive outlook on life, that the world is a big place. It's not confined to Texas. Texas is a big state. Don't get me wrong, but I think it was foundational in Preston's development. Some may say it was a hindrance because he didn't have that social fabric, I guess you could say, with the Friday Night Lights football and whatnot. There is upsides and downsides to it, but I think holistically, if we look at it, it was very beneficial for Preston's upbringing. And what it did is it strengthened us as a family. I mean, it was real. We're exposed to this. We didn't understand the languages in a lot of countries we lived. So it brought us together, and Preston, at a young age, I didn't notice it, but I could see it now as he's a young man. He picked a lot of characteristics of myself because I would be kind of parachuted into an environment that I wasn't comfortable with, but I made the best of it. And I think that foundationally, Preston he's actually exceeding me in that in his young adult time. He grabs a task. He's very task oriented with it, and reality is that it was a blessing for us to do this.
I think you made a wonderful point, because being surrounded by people that you don't know the language, but you had to learn their customs and so forth, cemented your relationship. And I'm sure being together, you spend lots of time and discuss lots of time. Maybe unknown to you at that time, you discuss business situation with your wife and maybe others. And Preston heard all this. He watched your leadership skills and positions and opportunities, and that had a great influence on you. And you made another point that the world is bigger than Texas, and it's so true. I remember one of the maybe first things that I learned in American embassy when I was in Romania and I was ready to go to the United States. Everybody at American embassy said, "Oh, you go to Dallas, Texas, you will learn that Texans will think that America is Texas and something around." So it's true. We in Texas many times think that the world revolves around us, but the world is, and the family. The cementation of the family is so important, and many parents have to pay more attention, especially now in our changing culture, to take the time and build in the life of young people the desire and the importance of a family. And that's
Absolutely.
exactly. And I think your part is very important, but I believe Preston part is important too, because many times I say to my kids, "I taught you, but you are teachable." It's important for a young person to be teachable. And that's what Preston is. He is a young man, and he is teachable. He loves to do things and imitate. He has the opportunity to meet people, important people and skillful people. He imitated not only your leadership, but when I read on his resume, how God put in his path in his life, a retired Air Force major with a wonderful experience to teach him about flying. That was an important point in his life. But before we get to that point, Preston, I would love to tell us how you as a child in that environment value the family and how important it is for you right now.
I've had excellent journeys throughout the countries we lived in. I made amazing friends over the countries, and I'm blessed that I'm fortunate that my family could do these certain things. And yeah.
how how you develop and when you discover that you have a love for flying. Obviously you're able to fly with your parents all over, and a lots of people fly, young people fly, but there are some points in your life where you discover that. When was that point?
It had to be when I was very young, when I would have to say 4, when I first got on my first plane. Ever since then, we always moved and traveled and vacationed to other countries, and we were always on planes. And one day I thought to myself, you know what, I kind of want to do this. And when the time came, I got fortunate enough to be able to do that. And ever since then, it's been a very good journey.
Must be a scary moment for you as a young person and for your parents. I mean, sometimes we are scary or concerned when we give the car keys to our first time drivers, teenagers. But when you let your child to fly an airplane, that must be really scary. How did you feel the first time, or the first time when he had to go to school to learn flying, Robert?
It, I didn't have any nervousness. I knew that it was God's will. Um, I knew he was protected, and it was a very proud moment. And the moment that on October 20th, when Preston soloed the airplane, uh, it was emotional. Just the sheer joy to watch him fly by himself. Obviously, there wasn't any dry eyes. It was a very proud parenting moment.
So,
And
what was the year?
it was 2021, October 20th, 2021. So it was quite remarkable because he was too young for his license. The FAA has regulations, and it was 17 years old. He was 16. So to watch him accelerate and advance, you have to be 16 years old to solo. So he met that milestone. But it was amazing to see it. To see the confidence level build, knowing that if you break down, you can't pull over. And for him to be able to go through all this incredible training that he received, where the instructors and other pilots from the school that he was going to, saying he was natural. He's very cognizant of emergency procedures. He was at one point during his private pilot journey, he was being tested on a commercial level, just because they were kind of running out of syllabus for him to do. So a long answer to your question, Virginia, is I didn't have fear. I guess I had just more parental excitement. I know my wife, it's intrinsically the mothering instinct with the children, but I think it was both of us was one of the most proudest moments to see this. And it was remarkable to watch.
Have you ever thought that you reach and you accomplish, Preston, the impossible dream?
It
Flying?
was it was a really good milestone in my life for sure. I enjoyed it.
Can you talk a little bit louder?
It was a really good milestone that I accomplished right then. I realized from that point on that I got this and I can overcome more difficult tasks as my aviation career pursues.
But being his father, he's fairly humble. So I think the gravitas of what it is hasn't really sunk in yet. But when you start to look at his age and where he's going right now with a very difficult rating, it's an instrument rating at his age. It's not common. It's very uncommon. So, my wife and I both try to instill the importance of it. But Preston's humbling character, he'll never he'll never exaggerate it. But reality is he's 0.07% of the pilot population.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we can look at the statistics, but I think Preston stays focused on, he's task oriented. It's a goal, and he'll never, he won't ever toot his own horn, I guess you can say. And I think that's what makes him an exceptional pilot is he's
Yeah.
very level.
I have a son, and he is a rescue pilot in the United States Air Force, and I know, how much it takes to fly an airplane or a helicopter or so forth. And at your age, Preston, it's remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable. And the skill and the talents, what impresses me is that God puts skills and talents in you and you use them. And you use them for your glory. You use them to show others that we all have skills and we all have to use them. What is your no, you don't have siblings, but you have classmates. What's their attitude? What do they think about you? What question do they ask?
The main question I get is, can I come up with you and fly? That's the number one question. They're all very supportive of me throughout my journey through it. And my teachers are very supportive through it. My actual aerospace teacher, Miss Duffer, she's probably my number one supporter when it comes to my school people.
That is remarkable. And let me ask you this. This is a wonderful accomplishment, and I know you want to go further on this and develop even more skills. Do you think of something else that maybe right now you think, oh, it's impossible, but with determination and hard work, I will accomplish?
My main goal is to get to the airlines. I really want to accomplish that. I've realized that it's going to take a while, but I'm determined to get there, and I want to see my face on there one day.
Robert, what would you say? I don't know if your wife is close by.
She's somewhere around the house.
Okay. But what would you say to parents? Because as parents, we know our children. We know the talent and the skills that God put in them. There is a specific way that we know that from a younger age. What would you say to parents to help them to accomplish what you accomplish in Preston's life? How would you encourage them?
The biggest encouragement I could give other parents is don't direct your child to do what you want them to do. Don't live vicariously through your child, and allow them to kind of explore and let them have some failures on certain things, but at the same time be supportive on certain things. So not everybody's wired to be a doctor, not everybody's wired to be a lawyer, or not everybody's wired to be a gardener type thing, but allow your child to kind of understand where they want to go, and you'll see it at the most unpredicting time in a parenting life. It was Karen and I knew that Preston, he had a talent that it was hidden. We didn't see it. It was in plain sight the entire time, and what it took was just one thing, just a simple direction that we want to take Preston on a surprise flight, a discovery flight. And that was kind of at the last minute. And I think the Lord actually had a big part of that, because it wasn't something that we were thinking. And he took to it like fish to water, I guess you could say. So it's an amazing if you allow your children to kind of let them direct themselves, you can provide support. Obviously, be there for them is another big thing. It's reality is, children today, they're surrounded by a tremendous amount of influence, be it social media, etc. And I think one of the foundations with Preston, we were lucky, is he didn't really show an interest in that. He showed an interest in kind of doing computer things, but not on a social media platform, maybe playing some video games like all young boys do. But I think when you spend time as a family unit where you can limit the time that your children can be on the social media platforms, I think you'll start to see you'll see a skill in your children that you wouldn't see if they're buried in their iPad or their phones or whatever, right? So let your child dictate what they're going to do, and I think you'd be surprised.
You said it so well. Preston, what would you say to young people?
I would say follow your goals. You never know where it's going to take you. Just keep on going. Just do what you want to do, and have supporting parents and friends throughout the way.
That's great. I just want to thank you so very much for coming to our podcast and encouraging many, many parents and many young people. And I hope they will take your message to their heart. And if they have any question, we will put links and everything, and we will answer all your questions. And thank you so much again, Robert and Preston, for coming to our podcast.
Well, thank you very much, Virginia.
Thank you so much for watching and listening to our podcast, Courageous Leadership with Virginia Prodan, every Wednesday and Saturday at 10 o'clock Central Time. Our podcast is on Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Edify Podcast Network, the best Christian platform. We are so grateful you are here, and we hope you keep in touch. If you have any questions, please send us your questions and keep in touch. Until next time, bye-bye.